So I spent the most of my young life searching, trying to understand meaning of life, what is truth, what is reality. And I know that's a lot of like heavy things for a 6-year-old, 8-year-old to digest, but that's where I was. And then in high school, when I started having access and more freedom to public libraries and the internet, that's when I really started my occult practice. So the first thing I started was tarot. I was just fascinated by these cards. I saw them at a Renaissance fair, and it was just a pulling, a knowing. I need to have these. I need to understand this. So pretty much right off the bat, I shared with my mother how excited I was about about finding these cards. That did not go well. Those are the devil's plaything, and they're evil, and I didn't care. So I just kept pushing and pushing. Finding secret ways to study. Unfortunately, in the early 2000s, there wasn't a lot publicly available, like buy books. You could get stuff on Wicca, but most of it was pretty unknown to me. So when I was in undergrad, I started studying philosophy. And philosophy has many different realms, but the one that really triggered my imagination was ancient Greek philosophy. Plato, Aristotle, Socrates. Turns out they have actually a lot to do with occultism and esotericism, but it's all been kind of forgotten, or people read these because they're pretty upfront. Like Plato writes daemon, Daemon, and everyone's like, oh yeah, like don't worry about that. I'm like, but this is really important. So fast forward, let's see, that was about 8 years later. I'm in Los Angeles in the middle of the pandemic, like everybody else, spending a lot of time on TikTok. I had become TikTok famous before the pandemic for magic. I didn't show my face. I didn't share who I was because I was very afraid of doing that. And then during the pandemic, when I hit 100,000 followers, I said, cool, guess I have to share this now. People know, because a couple people from my hometown found me. And I was like, oh, damn, you weren't supposed to see that, man.
That's what happens when you get internet famous.
Yeah. So there was, a lot of people have been very accepting about it. I think people are a lot more open now. But you still get those sticks in the mud who like say you're going to hell. And I'm like, cool, see you there, buddy.
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat because I first started looking into this right after about the mid 90s, right after the craft came out. That was my gateway drug to enter into this space. It kind of progressed from there, studying, Wicca, and I finally got into Thelema a little bit, and so it just kept going. It became like a rabbit hole. So what? Okay, so my next question then goes into the name. So who is Pythian Priestess?
Oh, so who is she? So Pythia, she's over there on my altar. Pythia was a title for the priestess or the high priestess of Apollo in ancient Greece at Delphi. So Delphi in the ancient world was considered to be like the center of the world. Very important place. And there were, at the height of Delphi, 3 Pythias. There were 3 priestesses. Pretty awesome job. You worked like once a month, maybe, if the sacrifices and the stars were aligned properly. And so Pythia really holds a very special place in my heart. When I was an undergrad studying ancient Greek philosophy, found out Socrates and Plato went to the Oracle. And Delphi, that trek is really long for an ordinary person. Like they didn't have cars and planes. Like this was a epic journey by foot. And when they got there, the Oracle proclaimed that Socrates was the wisest man in the world because he knew nothing. And I was like, okay, she's sassy. Men listen to her. Love that. I love that she has all this power. And more importantly, it really broke down that idea when I was a child that women couldn't be priests. And here is the Pythia priestess doing exactly what I was told I couldn't do 2,000 years ago.